Hello and welcome to From the South, teleSur's daily news show. We start off in Venezuela, where the opposition has announced plans for a second collection of signatures against President Nicolas Maduro. This comes after Venezuela's National Electoral Council approved the first step in the recall referendum against the president on Monday. The opposition is now tasked with collecting signatures from 20% of the electorate, which is about 4 million people.
The trial against former head of state Alberto Fujimori and his ministers of health for the forced sterilization of thousands of women has been dismissed. Victims such as Esperanza Guayama spoke out against the decision. She was sterilized without knowing when she went to a clinic for a checkup on her unborn baby. She later had a miscarriage and found out she could no longer become pregnant.
They forced us when Fujimori was president, with all his ministers and also his doctors. Why do they mock us women, who are poor, humble farmers, who didn't know how to read? That is the truth.
The prosecutors accused the government of Fujimori of having forced sterilizations as a state policy for population control, focusing on indigenous non-Spanish-speaking rural women. Carlos Rivera believes there are political machinations behind the dismissal of the case, since Fujimori's party is still strong and maintains control of Congress. And that is why the decision was made when public attention was focused on the inauguration ceremony of the new president.
We were surprised by the resolution, which was made a minute before the presidential speech. It was really strange. Experience tells us that when things like this happen, it is because the judges don't want their decisions questioned, or at least they don't want the negative impact they know they can cause to have greater effects.
During the ceremony, progressive members of Congress held a demonstration in support of the victims, but members of the Fujimori party have threatened them with sanctions for disrupting the event. Meanwhile, the victims are appealing the dismissal of the case and considering taking it to international court. Rael Mora, teleSur, Peru.
Athletes continue to arrive in Rio de Janeiro just 3 days out from the start of the Olympic Games. 10 members of the first refugee Olympic team were welcomed by the International Olympic Committee in Rio de Janeiro on Tuesday. The team includes 10 athletes from 4 countries: South Sudan, Syria, Congo, and Ethiopia. They will compete under the Olympic flag in swimming, judo, and athletics. Now on to world news. New York City Police Commissioner William Bratton announced his resignation Tuesday as the head of the largest city police force in the United States. His announcement came after protesters began an encampment next to City Hall, demanding the commissioner be fired and an end to racist policing. And business magnate Warren Buffett challenged Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump to reveal his income tax returns. He spoke at a rally alongside Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton in Nebraska on Monday. Early voting took place Tuesday in South Africa's municipal elections. The vote is widely being seen as a referendum on President Jacob Zuma, who is facing hundreds of corruption charges related to a major government arms deal in the late 1990s. Local elections on Wednesday could see the ruling African National Party lose major cities it has held virtually unchallenged since the end of white minority rule 22 years ago. More than 400 refugees traveling in 3 inflatable vessels were picked up on Monday by the Italian Coast Guard from waters off the coast of Libya. According to the Coast Guard, 1,800 refugees were found in open water on Monday, bringing the total up to 8,300 over 5 days. The deputy to the UN Special Envoy to Syria, Ramzi, was in Damascus Sunday, where he met with the Syrian Minister of Foreign Affairs about the political situation in the Syrian crisis. The Syrian government has declared its readiness to participate in the upcoming Geneva talks, which are to begin later this month. Ramzi's visit came while the Syrian army had gained control of major routes, which had been used by anti-government militants to carry arms to the city of Aleppo. Hong Kong shut down Tuesday as Typhoon Nida brought violent winds and torrential rain, with hundreds of flights canceled and the stock market, schools, and businesses closed. Gusts of over 90 miles per hour whipped the city and rain lashed down during the night, with authorities warning of floods and landslides. And in cultural news, Salvadorans began a week-long celebration on Monday in honor of the patron saint of their capital, with a colorful march complete with musicians, clowns, and local mythical figures. And that's all for today's news. More on these and other stories on our website, telesurtv.net/English. See you tomorrow.